Is Hogwarts Legacy really that good? I recently beat the game and I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed. Now, let me explain. Every aspect about this game is great. However, I came into this game with the expectation that it would be a fun decision making game. However, while playing, I realized that this game doesn't have a moral system, meaning things you do don't have consequences, which, for those of you who don't know, that is a key mechanic in decision making story game. Throughout the entire time I was playing, I felt like a lot of what I chose didn't have any real impact on the story, meaning that regardless of what I chose to do, it didn't change the end of the game at all. For example, there are the unforgivable curses that the player can easily choose to learn or not to learn. The thing is, there's literally no reason not to learn them other than role playing purposes. You don't get penalized in any way for learning the dark arts. Characters don't treat you any different. You can use them in any situation without comment. Now that was a problem with me. There should be consequences in that matter. Now, something I take seriously in games is immersion. Now, the world design possibly is the best in any RPG game I have seen. Hogwarts itself feels very real with transition from interior to exterior being relatively seamless and a one-on-one mapping of what you see on the outside to what you can explore on the inside. This is further shown in places like the Forbidden Forest, a dark and gloomy place that really feels like there is danger around the corner. Fortunately, the player isn't locked into a forest level and can return to the safety of the countryside by doing something very natural, just flying up beyond the canopy. These details are these details are brilliantly done, and exploring Hogwarts is a treat. Although it can be let down by some shortcomings of immersion, such things as students not sleeping in their beds or the audio ambience being strangely quiet despite being surrounded by hundreds of students in the Great Hall. Classes meant very little interactions with other students, which classes meant very little. Interactions with other students were minimum, and the dialogue formations were sometimes very strained as they tried to justify why a student would be doing the kinds of things the game encourages you to do. Immersion is sadly lacking. NPCs feel lifeless and most stand quietly in place. Dormitories are empty at night as students simply disappear from the school almost entirely. Prefects roam the halls at night for some quests then disappear in the open world. After a certain point in the game, I was able to wander right into the restricted section with no resistance whatsoever. There is no class schedule system. You can do classes for a quest line, then disappear for days with no consequence. The world is beautiful but sadly empty. A villain hideout here, a cave there, and some animals. Avalanche Software has built such a fabulous Hogwarts, and it would be a shame to let it be used for nothing but a background for countryside wizard duels. I want to compete for the House Cup. I want to face the dilemma of learning in class or learning by exploring. I want to have a choice in which friends and enemies make and which teachers I want to buttlick. Now, the combat in this game is like a Soulsborne with a mix of Spider-Man PS4. I think it's quite good, but it can be better. In fact, it can be improved. Main emphasis is keeping combos going. In crowded fights, things can be quite hectic. I played on hard and found it to be a decent challenge. Combat relies heavily on parry dodge CC enemies while you whittle down groups. The magic of combat and flow instantly vanishes the second you start to fight more than three enemies, alongside having to worry about melee and range enemies being able to attack at the same time, clipping through your potato. Enemies are also able to attack you after exiting your little animation spellcast, while you can't even move or do anything since your character is stuck because he's still in the animation. Character animations are slow at the end of the spellcast, leaving you exposed. The potato doesn't initiate because the game still hasn't finished reading the R2 input for basic attacks or spell attacks. The parry window is small, which I like, but it becomes a problem when you can't target swap properly. Hopefully this will be fixed in a patch. The combat on hard with 4 or more enemies isn't fun at all. It's doable but not fun, and having to constantly swap spells in a menu can interrupt the game, which isn't fun either. Now, the issue is, in my opinion, is that the combat is always just smashing R2 and throwing in whatever spell you want, hitting the weaknesses if you want. Potions and plants is the closest you get to any kind of unique build functionality, but it's pretty bothersome to focus your time on those. Everything else is just buffs to the pre-existing playstyle of R2 plus interwoven spells that gets really old. I mean, look at God of War. The RPG elements in that game aren't crazy in depth at all, like a CDPR game or something. It's mostly linear talents, a gear system that functions on basic upgrades, but it's super satisfying great and works great next to the amazing combat and storytelling. Hogwarts RPG system looks like a joke comparatively. Now, characters do mention your house and your actions during certain quests, which will be talked about later, which is cool. Relationship quests help you feel like these characters are becoming your friend, and it has payoff. The character creator is not what I expected. You have like 10 options and the customization is not detailed enough. Every time a character shows emotions, it looks weird. But overall, it isn't that bad, it's pretty decent. For the above reasons, Hogwarts itself is a hit and miss. I also thought the music inside the school was a little obnoxious and over the top. There are plenty of hidden corridors, which is cool, but you never get the feeling of sneaking around, being somewhere you shouldn't be unless it's for a specific quest. Every once in a while, the atmosphere hits that classic Hogwarts feeling. I actually preferred the world outside the school. Technical issues are bound. Lots of clipping, stuttering, sketchy character models, janky lighting, and skits and textures. They don't make the game unplayable, but they can be annoying. My game no longer allows me to leave Hogwarts through the doors actually, and I have to fast travel outside, which I find annoying, but it doesn't make the game unplayable. Overall, it's a pretty good game, but not a great game. With some TLC, I can imagine it becoming much better. I don't regret buying it, but again, I would recommend buying it used. Not just for whatever political reasons, but because in its current state, I don't think it's worth the full $70. So, that's it. Hogwarts is actually a good game, to be honest. If you haven't played it, I would recommend it, but I would highly recommend buying it used. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you absolutely love it. Gave it to one of my friends and they absolutely loved it. He mentioned some small details which I did miss, which he told me about, which are pretty great to be honest. Overall a great game. I would give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, it can be better. It actually can be better. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 because it can be better with some few improvements and updates. But thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.